it's the mountain, it's the trucks, and that means it's time for the iAnalyze.com V8 SuperTruck Championship. Coming up next here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacing Live.
Fuel usage.
Averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons. Change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons. Changing right side tires.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the mountain here for the final round of the Sox Out Racing iAnalyze.com V8 SuperTruck Championship right here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacing Live. My name is Cisco Scaramuza alongside Jake Sperry to bring you all the action, and here we are, Jake, round number 9, the final round, and it's at the toughest track, I think, possibly in the world.
Certainly one of them, very much up there. This little mountain has made a lot of victims over the years, and it doesn't matter whether it's a V8 Super Truck, whether it's a V8 Supercar, whether it's even anything that you put your mind to it. Skip Barber, Pontiac Solstice, you name it, McLaren MP430, it's a nightmare here. And what has to be understood is that the nightmare is all about one thing for championship leader Bobby Zelensky, and that's just survival.
Yes, it is, and we'll take a look at your Drivers' Championship right now, and, well, it's pretty easy. All he has to do is finish 10th or better, and he's got this championship locked up. Sven Kamertz has to go out and win and hope that Zelensky finish 11th or worse. That's the only shot that he has to win this championship, and with 13 cars going to be on the grid tonight here, Jake, that's probably not going to happen.
Probably, but the mountain does something that not many things do. Also, the final spot in the top 3, Kapal versus Kuratov versus Thompson. Outside shot for Gruber as well, if he's very lucky. That's always something to keep an eye out on. But the team standings as well. At the moment, it's all off-camber motorsports, the oval discipline team. Talk Freak Corkscrew, though, doing a very good job. 60 points back, but I don't see a way that they can recover it. Pete Pecker's basically the Bobby Zelensky show in 3rd.
Yeah, no, they're not going to have enough drivers on that team to be able to really do anything. And then several other teams below the cut line there as well. Let's take a look at your manufacturer championship. Right now, it's still leaning towards Toyota. They took a little bit of a margin, so they have a little bit bigger of a gap than I think they've had most of this season, with 11:44 over Chevrolet's 11:27. And Road versus Oval. Road has the command going into the probably a track that's going to suit a lot of these road course drivers, Jake. A lot of undulation, a lot of challenging turns. And yeah, we have that super long straightaway in the chase, but apart from that, this is going to be primarily a road course driver's dream.
Exactly, and I think what has been very apparent throughout here today is that a lot of positions can be gained off of mistakes. So in that respect, the Hard Chargers Award, arguably the most important one of the lot here today, Cisco.
Yeah, it is, and of course that'll go to the driver who gains the most, or not necessarily gains the most positions, but can go to anyone who gains positions and is not in your top 3, and you can get that and vote for your choice for the Hard Charger Award at Sox Out Racing on Twitter. Tweet at them for your choice, and they get to receive a month free of iAnalyze racing software, and we heard a little bit about them there at the beginning of the broadcast, but iAnalyze, the presenting sponsor of the V8 SuperTruck Championship, and now just about 10 seconds left before we head to the grid. Final thoughts, Jake. We'll take a look at the track here in one moment's time, but before then, what are you expecting here?
a lot of two wheels action. I just saw Zelensky dive down onto the lane, get up on two wheels, even on pit road. This is going to be about who stays on all four tires.
Well, the qualifying clock has run out here, so it's time to take a look at your RaceSpotTV starting grid here for the 12 drivers who will try to tame the mountain here in Australia. Bobby Zelensky's got the pole with a time of 2 minutes 3 seconds, 0.8 right behind him. Borja Valero is going to run second. Third going to go to Sven Kamert's. Fourth starting spot going to go to Martin Kapal, and Justin Kruitoff rounds out your top 5.
James King, 6th position on the third row with Jörg Gruber and David Barraclough. Barraclough normally a very good hard charger through the field. Bram Reniers will start 9th, so that's 3 torque freak machines in a row. And then you got the likes of Clifton Cockrell there in 10th position. Final 2, I'll wrap them up for you. Here's this go. Daniel Thompson, Josh Mertz, both of them failing to set a time.
Absolutely. And now let's take a look at this 3.86 mile monster. 23 turns. We won't be doing a full pace lap here, Jake. We're starting towards the end of the Conrad Straight. We'll head through the chase, and then Murray's Corner, and then the green flag will be in the air.
Exactly, and the big difference is going to be track conditions today. It's overcast, it's 19 degrees C on the road. It is cold, it is slippy, and when you got a mountain section that does not forgive even in oversteering conditions, get it with the likes of what we've got today, it's going to be a nightmare for drivers to get themselves through and get these trucks through, which do not like undulation.
Yeah, the lap record at this track has already been shattered by Borja Valero. So, yeah, that can go out the window at that point for these guys. Fastest that we've seen these trucks on the mountain in this series. But waiting for the iRacing.com rough RT12R to pull away as it does. So now the field rests in control of Bobby Zelensky in that pace car as they head towards the chase. And going to be a very interesting corner here, Jake, because there's no giant spoiler on these cars. They're going to have to slow down almost purely on the power of those brakes.
Yeah, they certainly are, and that's going to be a big issue. But right now, you have to say Bobby Zelensky, who can touch him? He's the third highest iRating in oval in the world as things stands, only behind Ray Alfala and Ty Majeski as well. So 9K iRating, always difficult to beat, but Murray's Corner, let's get it going.
Yeah, pace cars in, and now Bobby Zelensky comes around Murray's Corner, waits for the green flag to fly in the air. It does, and we're racing here from Mount Panorama. They're going to go 3 wide on the start as they head towards Hell Corner.
Yeah, Hell's Corner always difficult, and well, 3 wide it's going to go. Who's going to sling one down the inside? They're going to try, they're going to shuffle themselves out a little bit there, it seems, all behind Jörg Gruber. And well, now it's 2-tier because you've got Bram Reniers and James King, the big loser in all of that. Mountain Straight for the first time.
Yeah, mountain straight towards Quarry, and Zelensky's opened up a huge lead already. They're single file back towards that group with James King. We're going to stay with the 23 because they're going to go 2 by 2 going into Quarry Bend, heading towards the cutting in Griffin's Mountain.
Yeah, they are. And well, this is where the mountain starts not to give. Reniers on the inside. I think King's going to let this one go up to the cutting. You don't want to go too wide. He thinks about it. He comes across. He holds it somehow up into the cutting. No, he doesn't. He's round, and he's going to almost cause a blockade. Caution flies.
And not a good way to start off the race for these guys. Pace car lights are rolling here, so we will reform the pack, but caution already out as we headed up the mountain. And we talked about how there might be 2 wide or trucks going sideways as well, Jake, and the case of the 23 just got in the wall and it just turned the truck around.
It did, and I think it's the first caution we've had in about 4 races or so that I can remember, so not often that we see a caution, but from what was an earlier part of the season where we saw a caution every race, we have ourselves a caution now. But that's the thing, King got out of control heading towards the cutting. He was a little bit stuck on the outside, tried to hold it, and then when he tried to apply that power again, the vehicle was clearly unsettled, the balance all wrong. There was no way that machine was going any way but around.
No, King, who won the hard charger last round, not the way he wants to start off this race, and now the truck's heading over under the Mitsubishi bridge into the chase here, and Zelensky will pick up the rough pace car here, and they'll get set to pace around here. They'll allow us to take a little bit more of an in-depth look at this track, Jake, because we saw these guys, we saw the replay there of what happened to King, and we'll be able to take a little bit more of a look because when you head up the mountain, it gets super narrow, and I really wasn't sure if they were going to be able to stay too wide. They didn't. And for King, he just got extremely loose, like you said.
Yeah, most of the mountain is one track lines, one line suits all, shall you say. And when you get in that sort of position, when something like that happens, you need to have a lot of wherewithal about you to know to just drop back into line, wait for a better chance, maybe down towards the chase, because you get up through the park corners like Solomon Park, McPhillamy Park, and then you head to Skyline and down the hill towards the likes of the Dipper and the Forest Elbow. You're hoping that you just survive lap on lap. It's 17 laps. And yes, that was a mistake for James King. He dropped 6 positions, but by the same point, all that James King has managed to do is say, yes, I've turned around, but he's still in this race, and that's very crucial.
He is, and the pace car light's still on, so we're probably going to get 2 parade laps here. So this is about when it all started going wrong. We head up Corey's Bend towards Griffin's Mount and the cutting. And these guys managed to get single file through the quarry, and I was kind of surprised. I thought they'd stay too wide a little bit longer, maybe, and have Griffin's Mount and the cutting kind of single file them out. But about here is where King started to get loose. And Jake, this case where you see this is kind of 2 corners. You have that slight left and then this acute left-hander, and it swings you with the undulation change, a very challenging corner.
It certainly is, especially with a little bit of off-camber nature to it as well. You've got to make sure that you get it correct, and then up the hill and heading into the rights and lefts, you've got to just make sure that you have absolute perfect car control as we look right now. Live timing and scoring available on RaceSpotTV. Head over to RaceSpotTV /timing for that. But Cisco, when you look at it, it's almost like you're racing Monaco or something like that. These are public roads. These are, well, this is one of the very few street circuits, you could argue, that is on the iRacing calendar and on the iRacing service. So when you look at what is available and what you have to do, this is probably the most amount of practice you can ever do is coming onto this symbol rather than going to actually race the Bathurst roads.
Yeah, and as we head through Skyline, down through the S's, and this is going to be tricky because I alluded to it earlier, Jake, there's no giant spoiler on these trucks like there are on the V8 supercars. So as we head down the hill, there's so much less grip and so much less stability that these trucks have versus their Australian counterparts. And there's the pace car there. That was odd, but there's so much less stability in these trucks, and it makes it hard to go through these downhill corners because with more weight behind you, the terminal velocity of the trucks is just going to keep you barreling through these corners.
Exactly. These trucks are very, very heavy, and as such, no matter how much licensing you're going to do, they are always going to be very difficult to navigate and negotiate through a very much, almost like trying to go down a river at times with a canoe. Or a banana boat, even, you should probably say, Cisco, at times with these. It's always very, very difficult to make things happen. But heading down towards the chase, there is a feeling that when you get to full speed, a lot of drivers have been struggling with the corner on the left-hander because they have been trying to slow it down, but they're taking too much of the curb. And as such, I've seen 2 wheels. I've even seen people on their door.
Yeah, and talking about that weight difference, it's about a 500-pound difference between these V8 supercars, or the Virgin Australian supercars, I should say, and the NASCAR Camping World trucks. So that's a lot, and that's counting the driver as well, Jake. So these trucks, they weigh a lot, and that weight, as you mentioned, we've seen some 2-wheeling before, and I wouldn't be surprised if the curbs bring it a little bit today. But since we have another parade lap yet to go at the mountain, and we're just coming to complete this lap now, we're going to step aside and take a quick ad break here. So don't go anywhere. We'll stay tuned right here to RaceSpotTV. We'll be back in a moment, here in about 2 minutes.
Fuel usage.
Averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons. Change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons. Changing right side tires.
as we're trailing behind the pace car, we welcome you back to the Sacks Out Racing iAnalyze V8 SuperTruck Championship right here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacing Live. Cisco Scaramuza, Jake Sperry along with you. And we're heading down the hill towards Forest Elbow before we head down the straight and take the green. Let's go re-green after that. But we had that first caution with James King heading up the hill, and now these guys will have a second shot here, Jake, to go a little bit green flag running here.
Yeah, they've got a chance to get this right, and the longer that they go, the more fuel they save, the longer into the stint that these drivers can go, and that's going to be very crucial. But they also save the tyres by going at this slow pace. The lights are off on top of the pace car. It will be a green flag run that we'll be hoping to see here towards the start of lap 4. But 17 laps, we've already done probably about a quarter of this race there or thereabouts by the time they get to Quarry.
Yeah, we have, and tires, you mentioned it, they're going to be at a premium today here, Jake, because it's so cold out, like you mentioned, so new tires especially, they're going to be a little bit hard to handle, but you know, after that lap or so that you need to warm them up, it's going to be just fine, and you're going to need that grip because this track is so cold.
Nobody likes cold tyres on a cold morning, but this evening it's still a very, very cold affair here in Australia, especially here in New South Wales. But it's only a single file restart, so that's going to be some advantages. We're not going to see as much too wide. Hopefully, pace car dives down. Hopefully, onto the left, it does.
It does, and that'll leave the field in command of Bobby Zelensky. Around Murray's corner once again. Green flag. When does it fly? It flies now. Zelensky on the loud pedal. We're re-green here from Bathurst. And single file. No, they're going to go double file already in the back of your pack for third. No, that's for fourth. No, it will be for third. The 123 dived it in. Too wide goes is Borja Valero. And now he is going to battle Sven Kamertz. And it slowed him down. The two wheels there, Jake. Horrendous effect on the 39.
It certainly was, and Kamertz needing to make positions, makes the position, has it before Quarry. Gruber, though, side by side with Kapal. Kapal for third in the championship, gets it. A little look again, though, from the driver of Valero in towards Quarry. It didn't quite work for him. He'll have to check it up. Single file. Are we too wide anywhere else? Yes, we are. James King trying to make moves on Josh Mertz. He has the outside again. Hopefully lightning doesn't strike twice. It doesn't. We're clean.
So George Gruber had a moment there, had the back end of the truck step out on him a little bit, but up the hill we now come, and Cockrell right now a little bit of a battle going on with, he's had massive damage, Jake, so problems with the driver of the 27, but no yellow, and battles continue.
That was a heavy, heavy shunt at Griffin's Mount. It was a horrible contact for Cockrell, one that would knock the wind out of yourself. Side-by-side Gruber versus Reniers. Reniers through on the brakes down the hill, hoping that nobody steps out of line, nobody runs into any issues at all. And, well, everyone just about making it through that section unscathed. Mountain done. Conrad next.
Yep, and now this is going to be to see the test of how good are the brakes on these Camping World trucks. Zelensky all alone out at the front of your field, though. Huge lead back to that battle for second and third. Kamertz is holding on to that, at least for the moment. Right-hander, then hard on the brakes into the chase.
Yes, we had some side-by-side. Barclough, Thompson, Kritoff, all going at it. 2 and 3. Reniers is going to go straight on. He's going to lose the position to Gruber, and that's the only casualty that we will see down at the chase on this opening lap. But still, Barclough versus Thompson continues, and Thompson has a lot of damage to the rear of that machine.
Yeah, I think he got a little bit of help from David Barclough. We see a lot of smoke coming off these tires as they head through Murray's corner and then complete lap number 4 here. We start lap number 5 and back up the mountain we go again.
And Valero versus Kamertz for position number 2 still continues in this 12 truck field, shall I say so. Kamertz having to play defense here, is letting Zelensky go away. 1.4 seconds needs Zelensky to run into a rare issue for him to have any chance of taking the title. No move into turn number 2 at Quarry, so this may mean that Borja Valero is going to be stuck for at least half a lap.
And I say it a lot in the VLN Endurance Championship, Jake, you can't beat yourself. And this track has a tendency to do that to drivers. We saw it happen with James King. It was an unassisted incident for him. Meanwhile, your battle continues between Thompson and Kruithoff, so I'm keeping an eye on that. But this track's so challenging. Anything. We've seen it happen in VLN a lot, and it wouldn't surprise me if it happened here too.
Yeah, you see quite a lot of things happening on the mountain, as well as still Valero has a look down into Skyline and down through the S's that they go again. And it's very narrow, it's very petite driving that we're looking at right now from Kamet's, just scared to almost step out and be a little bit expressive through this section as he now bottles down onto the brakes into the left-hander. Brakes are smoking aplenty, and I wonder if we'll see any fire on those brakes trying to get themselves down in towards the chase. But Borja Valero has a chance, needs to stay within the tow. He was 2 tenths behind at the start-finish line.
The calipers are certainly going to be red here, Jake, but I don't know about any fire. We'll just have to see. But Valero has been trailing the driver, Sven Kamertz, now for about 2 laps since we've gone green, and they've kept it clean for the moment. But Kamert's actually going to lose a little bit of time through the chase as they head up to Murray's once again. Valero's right there knocking on the door, trying for that second place position.
He can knock on the door all he wants, but there's nobody home into Murray's Bend, so that's going to be a bit of waiting. No, all out of shape. Kamet loses 1. I think he's got away with 2 there with Kapal, getting all out of shape coming off of the exit there of Murray's Bend, and that is one of those corners that so many people take for granted. He got on the power and just never had it sorted there, Cisco.
No, and that's allowed Martin Kapal to drop into this battle. Now Kamertz versus Kapal is going to happen as they head up towards Corey once again. Gruber, meanwhile, very far off this battle. The next battle behind those guys, Reniers and Kruithoff. But as they go single file, Kamertz, Kapal close together as they head up the mountain once again.
Very close, but it's a 4-car battle behind that I think needs more attention at this situation right now. In fact, make it a 5-car train. Kruithoff, 5-truck train even, shall I say. Kruithoff, Reniers, Thompson, Barclow, and now James King wanting to get in onto the action. And well, what you have to say is positions need to be made, and when you're making them and you're in a big train like this, man at the front goes, everyone else is going along with them, and there's not much room, as we've seen earlier on today here, Cisco.
And that goes for both if they're advancing their position or wrecking, because if the guy in front wrecks here, that probably means the rest of those 4 trucks are probably going to be involved as well. So not only the danger, but the advantages can play well if you can play your cards right here. And Reniers, you can see, it wants that position badly, but there's nowhere to pass.
There is nowhere to pass, not just yet. Maybe he can sling one down the inside here at the Big Dipper and then towards the Forest Elbow and the run once again. You're always hoping, always looking for something that makes that big move happen, but no change in your top 5. But Reniers thinking about it now, gets himself there at 270 Ks on the run down into the right-hander. He thinks about it towards the chase. He'll back out of it though. He is not confident, and Thompson could capitalise, decides against it.
And I don't think that these guys can really chance at taking it full throttle through the slow right-hander because they just don't have the downforce for it, Jake. I think you can maybe feather the throttle through there. Even I'd probably just get out of the throttle completely for that corner, though, just so I don't risk it.
I'm not sure they even have the grip to make anything happen with just how cold this track surface is, and they're probably sliding on ice, it would feel like, into some of these corners. And well, big slide from Reniers heading through 1 there, and it's a checkup for the driver of Thompson. Barclow now with an opportunity here in the Torque Freak machine.
Yeah, Barclow is there as well as Thompson. So kind of 2 trucks, actually no, Kruithoff and Gruber have done a very good job of breaking away. So actually no, down the inside, Barclow had a look. He's not going to fire it in though. Who is going to fire it in is Daniel Thompson up to driver's right of Reniers. Reniers going to close and slam the door, and here comes Barclow.
He's coming back at him in towards the cutting. You don't make it, and they're 3 wide through. My goodness me, running wide was Bram Reniers. They hold on to it somehow, but you do not ever in your life go 3 wide at the cutting and get away with it.
Hey Jake, they just did. I don't know how, but they just did. And one of the narrowest parts on the circuit. I don't think we'll see that happen again without some sort of paint scratch, but just an amazing talent by all 3 of those drivers to keep it straight and keep it, all considering, pretty level-headed through there.
Yeah, and there's a replay on screen as well of that, and it was surprising to say the least that we'd see any 3 wide at the cutting, but that was all Reniers just missing his braking point, getting away with it, and somehow 2 trucks through. Cockrell is down on the lane. I think his damage is too much, so that'll be 1 vehicle that'll be very helpful for the driver of Bobby Zelensky, because now it's only got to be 1 vehicle to retire, and he is confirmed as champion.
Yeah, and Kamertz, meanwhile, has fallen to 3rd, so not where he wants to be. He needs to win this race if he has any shot at being able to grab this points championship from Zelensky. For the rest of your field, pretty spread out right now, that battle of those 4 trucks. It gets spread out through the chase a little bit. Jake, is 1 truck going to fly off the track? It's Barclough. And never mind, it's going to go 2 by 2. No, Barclough decides, nope, that's enough dust for me. I'm heading to pit road.
Lap 7, it's early, but it works for him. And I think he's going to go for an extreme undercut now, knowing that he was so far off with what was going on. But the issue he's going to have now is he's got cold tyres, and he'll be on old tyres at the end, which will do even more damage to his race.
Yeah, if this comes down to a battle at the end of this thing, Barclough's going to be severely in trouble. So we'll have to see how that's going to go. He does pull into his pit box here, so right side's going up on the 555. Meanwhile, your closest battle, Kruitov, has tracked down George Gruber and is looking for the pass.
He is looking for the top 5, and that's very crucial for Justin Kruitov, who started off in 5th position in this race. Gruber's +2, maybe a candidate for hard charger. Daniel Thompson +4 as things stand at the moment. But Kruitov, you know, he's looking calm behind that truck. He's looking like he has himself an opportunity. 206.9 against 207.6. Took 7/10 of a second out of the mountain on George Gruber. And Gruber's no slouch, mind you, as he gets all shades of Swifty in towards the left-hander there of McPhillamy Park. So Gruber on the ragged edge a little bit. Kruitov looking a lot more accomplished here as they head down the mountain.
Yeah, and Gruber doing an excellent job of holding him off. And for Kruitov, I think it's a case where if you get too close to that 123, we've seen tunnel vision happen before, and this is one place where you do not want to do that, Jake, because if you start forgetting where your line is and you end up outside of your groove, wall. That's just wall, period, and that's about all that's going to happen.
Wall exclamation mark, I think we'll find when we're in the booth looking at it. But a 13.5-second stop for David Barclay. He's out and away and going again. But that's the thing for Kruitov. He knows that there's a vehicle in front and he can't afford to follow that line. Let's take Bram Reniers, for example, earlier on when he had that big moment. If the drivers behind him followed him, they'd all be in the wall or there or thereabouts. Otherwise, they're taking it 3 wide and they're surviving. They're doing a good job of things right now. But King having an issue right now. James King, that is, in a battle. Well, yeah, he is in a battle with Bram Reniers, so my mistake.
And King slowly tracking down. And Jake, what a resurgence by the driver of the 23. And actually, no, I think Reniers said, you know what, just have it. I don't even want to deal with this right now. So Reniers lets King go. Wait, has the hand out the window, says, go ahead, and says, oh, by the way, you're welcome.
Bram Reniers is looking really uncomfortable with the brakes on that machine. He just doesn't know how to slow down that vehicle for any corner. He ran wide at the chase. He then ran wide at turn number 1 at Hell's Corner. I think Bram Reniers is really struggling. In fact, he gets himself a little bit of a slide as well as we keep our eye on Justin Kruitov in the 46 machine. He's trying everything here to wide up Griffin's mount. You don't normally do it there, but I think he's just about going to do it around the outside. Beautifully done by Kruitov.
Yeah, fantastic pass by Kruitov there. Shades of 2011 here in the Bathurst 1000, able to pull the pass off. And for Kruitov, now he wants to check out from Gruber, and that's probably going to happen because now Gruber has to worry about the teammate to the 46. That's Daniel Thompson, the 14.
Exactly, and Daniel Thompson looking to go +5 even with the damage on the rear, and Gruber looking very ragged right now. And oh, big wiggle there from Thompson, just getting caught. Maybe a bit of aero push there potentially there, Cisco, through that section.
Yeah, and Thompson did a good job to hold on to that car, or that truck rather, and now they come out of Forest Elbow and now into the straight as we go. They're up through the 4th gear already, and they're probably just not hitting the chip, but it's going to be close here, Jake. They need the power to get up the mountain. That means you don't see the trucks geared for that top speed except for this part of the track.
Exactly, it's a nightmare setup-wise because you need a vehicle that can really be angled in and can be pointed into a corner, but by the same point, you need something that has a little bit of va-va-voom on the front straights, and that's something that everyone's going to be keeping in their mind, in their conscious, just for a little bit. And I think Gruber has got that composite maybe a little bit further wrong in this event as King comes down onto the lane. The 23 machine dives down.
Yeah, and Bram Renier is also in, I suspect, maybe a brake bias change for the driver of the 208 just to breathe some life into that truck, because as you mentioned, he has been struggling today as the driver of the Torque Freak Racing 208. So Renier's, King in their stalls. Meanwhile, we're going to flash back up, check in on your top 5. Bobby Zelensky right now pulling away. Porsche Valero is running second. Kamert's third. Kapal fourth. And Krutov fifth. Krutov and Gruber probably your two closest drivers right now.
Yeah, they probably are. Of course, you've got to count Thompson in that battle as well. He's always up there looking very close indeed. But I think what we're seeing here is the management phase of this race right now. Zelensky normally runs away to the tune of about 10 seconds. That's not happening here today. He only gained 2/10 on Borja Valero over that last lap. And he'll be happy about that he's only gaining 2/10 because he knows that it keeps him honest, that it keeps him focused between now and the end of this event. And that's the last thing Zelensky needs, is to lose focus when only one driver is out of this event and he still has a chance of losing the title.
And he doesn't, the thing is though, Jake, you don't want to start thinking about that because you have so much to worry about with this track. The elevation, the walls, where your apex is, where am I shifting, all of that. And you got so much more to worry about. You don't really want to put your mind in that position right now, as Daniel Thompson just got very loose coming out of Forest Elbow as they head down the Conrad Straight once again. Gruber opened up that gap a little bit.
Yeah, he did open up that gap just a little bit, and Martin Kapal's asking, when's the pit window? It's already open, Martin. You can come down whenever you like. But right now, Daniel Thompson getting loose, needs to really close up to Gruber, and the leaders are in. So Zelensky in, Valero in, Kamet in, Kapal in, everyone in, and Krutov around and somehow misses the driver of Gruber, who also comes in.
And I wasn't sure if Gruber was going to make it to pit road, but replay coming up for Krutov there, and that was inches there from it all going wrong. And you see Krutov come through the chase and just got loose. That's all it was. No downforce, hit the curb, and it bounced the truck around. And holy cow, if you're George Gruber, I think you need a new driver's suit.
I think you definitely do, and I'll tell you something. I'd struggle to fit my hand in that gap there. So that is a massive getaway from Gruber in that situation. Krutov dives down to lane, everyone in, everybody out. Zelensky still holds the lead, Valero second, Kamet's third, Kapal fourth. But the battle for fifth, Gruber and Thompson very close together. And look at Barraclough and King, those two drivers now coming back into it. So now we have a top 5 scrap going on.
Yeah, the gang's back together again. So the question is, with these tires, they're already up to temperature for Barclough and King, so can they catch the two drivers in front of them as they head up the mountain? I would think yes, but let's see how these tires heat up. And is Gruber and Thompson able to pull away? Thompson gonna get the curb a little bit, gets a little bit loose, and oh, hello, David Barclough. Oh, caution is out.
We have it's Kamet. My goodness, it's Sven Kamet who's gone. Title is over. You'd feel, but he went around at turn number 3, turn number 4 even. That is going to be the cutting, and he just got all shades of narrow through that section. Just lost the rear end as he's done 1 or 2 times, and well, he's had a hard shunt into that wall. He keeps it going, but second caution of the day. And there's a little bit of damage to the right fender. No, the left fender, actually. Let's go front left fender.
All right, so I got 2 possibilities for this. Either number 1, he got so close to the inside wall that he hit a curb and it jacked the truck up on the left side. Or did he have 3 tires up there because of the way that undulation changes, and he just lost the left front completely off surface of the tarmac?
Well, I'm having a look right now into this right-hander, and while there's no curb to speak of, and yes, you're exactly right there, Cisco, in the fact that that front left wheel started arching up because he was so close on that right-hand side. A complete lack of grip in the Blackadder machine, and Sven Kamet, well, he just caused the second caution, and now he's really at a disadvantage between now and the end of this race, and that's what new tires do. You need to get adjusted to them.
And keep in mind, these are Camping World trucks. Independent rear or an independent suspension really isn't a thing in these. So once again, the case where the trucks, I mean, you know, they aren't the most sophisticated things in the world, and it does not go well for Sven Kamertz. If he was in a GT3 car or even a V8 supercar, he might have been able to do something, Jake, but simple is better with these Camping World trucks, and except for Sven Kamertz in that scenario.
You can't be greedy, and he's lost the position because of that greed into the cutting of turn number 4. So now he's got to make 3 positions on Zelensky. The good news is that gap of 12 seconds drops back down to next to nothing, so it makes his life a little easier. But right now, Bobby Zelensky very, very happy at the front of this field. A second caution, but he understands what is there of him. And just remember, it's a 17-lap event here. We're on lap 12 now. By lap 13, start of lap 14, it's going to be a 4-lap sprint.
Yeah, it is. And since we're coming up to that sprint, let's run you through who's eligible right now for your iAnalyze Hard Charger Award. Right now, Martin Kapal sits 3rd, so he's not eligible for that, despite the fact he's gained 1 position. George Gruber sits 5th. He's gained 2 positions. Daniel Thompson up 5. He started 11th. Jake is now running 6th. David Baraclow up 1 spot, as well as Josh Mertz, who's currently sitting on pit road.
Yes, but he's been sitting on pit road for over 2 minutes now, and if that is Josh Mertz's day done, then I think we could call it Bobby Zelensky may just be champion right now.
And that for Zelensky is huge because it means he can dial it back. I don't think he will. I think he wants to go out and win this race, Jake, so I think the 83 will attempt to continue to spearhead the pack here, but nonetheless, the 83 sitting very pretty right now, and I think the way the laps go, I think if they get to the re-green here, when this race does go back green, it'll be too many laps for Zelensky to fall down. Mertz isn't going to be able to pass him even if he was back on track.
Yeah, that's very true, and Clifton Cockrell's 3 laps down, but is 3 laps down and running, which is the crucial factor. So it means that for a guarantee for Cockrell, he's got to do probably 1 more lap of this circuit to not be lapped by Cockrell. And then you're looking at Mertz. If he keeps on dropping laps, he may just be safe overall.
Oh, he's out.
Yeah, Mertz gone. Oh, he's gone back out again. So that's it. It's 1 lap that he's got to do. So he's got to do 3 laps to win this race.
He's got to do 3 laps. The good thing for him is 2 of them are going to be under the yellow flag. So that's going to make it a little bit easier. Actually, no, we should take the green flag with 3 laps to go. So
3 green laps, I should say.
Yeah, 3 green laps. So Zelensky should be good to go here. Once we take the green flag, that championship should be locked for him. Of course, all these shoulds have asterisks in front of them in case something happens. But we're pacing once again, and since we don't want to go into Cisco history lesson here, we're going to step aside for a moment and take another RaceSpotTV fan immersion and go side by side. We'll ride on board with let's ride on board with the leader here of Bobby Zelensky, but we encourage you during the break, go ahead, tweet at SoxOutRacing for your choice of the Hard Charger Award. Gruber, Thompson, Baraclow, and Mertz all eligible for it. But right now, you're watching the Sox Out Racing, iAnalyzeRacing.com V8 SuperTruck Championship, back in 2 minutes.
Fuel usage.
Averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons. Change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons. Changing right side tires.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is dirt racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
try and get himself through, and well, that's the way it always goes, Cisco.
Yep, that's the way it goes. And now for the drivers of Bobby Zalenski, Sven Kamertz, it's going to be a case of, well, we're going to catch the pace car and pace around for 2 more laps, and that will secure Bobby Zalenski's shot at this championship, because with those 2 lap down cars, he cannot get past from here on out, unless, of course, something happens under the yellow. But as it sits right now, assuming Zalenski can pace around here, he should be good to the end. And by my math, we may get 1 lap at this, Jake. 1 final lap. And if they take that white flag, caution ain't coming out again, fam.
A green-white checker. Wow, that's going to be something that we don't often hear, but one we're going to get. And the 3rd caution of the day, everyone was getting way too aggressive, and with 1 lap to go, I fear that it gets even more aggressive, and there is going to have to be a case to be made here, Cisco, that penalty points come into play, and they're doubled for this event.
Yeah, they are. So penalty points going to be huge in this, Jake, because that could shake up your championship. It's not really going to affect Zalenski a whole lot, but plenty of other places were in play coming into tonight. You mentioned the battle for 3rd in your championship. Kapal, Kruithoff, and Thompson were all in that. Really only 18 points or 17 points off between the top 3 of those guys. And then, you know, Gruber's accrued some penalty points as well, but a lot of different battles through the field here. But that battle for that 3rd place spot in your championship, that's huge right there, and penalty points could play a massive factor in that.
Especially with Kapal and the move that he tried to make. I'd put him at fault for that incident, but that's just the way that I've seen that accident go. So if Kapal is made at fault and he gets penalty points and they're doubled, he may be losing a lot of points between now and the end of the season, and he may be dropping out of that podium battle. But to sort of say how the field looks now, Zalenski leads Kamet 2nd, Gruber now up onto the podium, Barraclough in 4th, Thompson in 5th, Kapal 6th, Kuratov King, and then suddenly you got Bram Reniers there with Valero 9th position.
Yeah, so this is basically all that's left on the lead lap. You see Valero, I think he came down to get some new tires after he flat spotted the ones he had by spinning there. So you can see him heading up the mountain now to catch back up with the field here, and he's got to start moving because the field's already heading through the dipper right now into Forest Elbow. And Valero, yeah, he's just heading up. He just head through Quarry right now. So let's ride on board with Valero because we got a little bit of time. And he gets a little bit of 2 tires there. That was a little bit fun. But heading up the mountain now as Valero just has to catch the pace group here. So shouldn't have to push too much, but nonetheless still flying up the mountain at speed.
Yeah, and he's got to be careful. He's already spun it once under caution, so he knows that he's being bitten, and he's now down towards the back of the field. Started 2nd on the front row, and well, will be very disappointed to be dropping back the amount that he does now down the hill to try and make his way towards the likes of the chase very soon. You can see just how much he needs to get there, and oh my goodness me, he gets on 2 tires, the back left and the front right down that section. That's very, very risky.
A little bit of a lockup as well as when he came into the elbow. Hold on to it. And I think Valero's pushing it for the sake of pushing it right now as he heads into the Conrad Straight. But I don't know if Valero's having fun out there or if he's just trying to catch up to this pack. They'll have another formation lap here before we take the re-green here. So for Valero, he should catch up to the pack here. Heads through the chase now and up to the left-hander and the right-hander. So Valero now caught on to the tail end of this field here, and he's going to have to race through as many trucks as possible if he hopes to get anywhere near the top 5. And now that we have a moment, we could talk about your hard charger award because that got flipped on its lid. David Barraclough has +4, he's sitting in 4th, and Daniel Thompson has +6, he's sitting in 5th. That's it. Actually, no, throw Bram Reniers in there as well. The 208 is +3.
He's down on the lane,
but he's on pit road right now. So this may come down to if Reniers can actually gain spots on this final lap.
Yeah, it will, and well, he's trying to sort out the damage that he's got on his vehicle, and well, he'll look to try and get through. Cockrell will get waved around, as will Mertz. So Mertz will finish on the leading lap as things stand, and Clifton Cockrell will gain to 1 lap 2. So in fact, it's not over for Bobby Zalenski. He has to finish this one. If he crashes out and doesn't make it within the time, he could still lose his championship. It's not as simple as one would think, but replay of the incident that happened with the driver of Valero. It's a very weird one, Cisco.
Yeah, he just lost it, and under the caution lap too. So, so we're going to take a look at the crash again there. A little bit of direction there from Paul. We're going to take a look at that bigger incident once again. As we mentioned, Capal fired it in there and just got the quarter panel of Valero there and just sent him straight around.
Yes. And I think for Valero that he is very hard done by that incident, and Quarry is always an opportunity to make those moves. And I can remember very vividly a fire in the Bathurst 1000 a few years ago that always caught the imagination. The moment you get it wrong, there is no respite. That track was blocked, and there was no help there. They had to start hitting reverse and hoping they could get themselves sorted. Fortunately, they did, but, you know, it's margins like that that cost races, and it's margins like that that help hard chargers like Barraclough and Thompson.
Yeah, and we mentioned the two wave round trucks, and they have to skedaddle right now because Josh Mertz is going under the Mitsubishi bridge right now. Zelensky is approaching Skyline right now. They're heading through that area around Silman Park and Falmy Park as well. So they've got to get moving here if they hope to get back up to the field here, as will Reniers, who just came off pit road after fixing that damage. Reniers should be good, but the rest of those guys, they really have to get moving, especially Cockrell.
Yeah, especially Cockrell. I don't think they'll get there in time in comparison to Zelensky and Kamet. So right now, if you're Kamet, there's one thing you have to do at turn number 1 when you get this restart. Get a good start, send it down the inside at turn number 1, hope that you get it sorted, or you try and use the draft up to 2 and give an opportunity for Zelensky to make a mistake.
And keep in mind, Jake, the 66 can't just send it in on Zelensky and take the championship that way. He'll get penalty points if he does that. So for Kamertz, it has to be a clean pass if he hopes something happens to Zelensky. So we're getting ready to go green flag here.
Exactly, and it's got to be Zelensky's mistake and Zelensky's mistake alone, and it's been very rare that we've seen a mistake out of Zelensky. I think Phillip Island this season has been the only time we've seen Bobby Zelensky run into trouble, but it's the final race, it's Bathurst, it's Monaco on a hill. It throws up some surprising results from time to time, and I wouldn't be surprised to see one last sting in the tail for the end of this event. But Sven Kamet, you've got a lot of work to do here compared to Mr. Zelensky. Zelensky, it's in all your hands now.
Yeah, it is. So let's run you through your lead lap trucks coming up to what will be the final green flag lap of this season. Bobby Zelensky, he right now sits at the front of the field. Then Sven Kamertz, George Gruber, David Barraclough, and Daniel Thompson round out your top 5. Martin Capal, Justin Kruitoff, James King, Borja Valero, Bram Reniers round out your top 10, with Josh Mertz that pivotal 11th place spot on the lead lap. Pace cars in. Green flag will be in the air. They just have to make it to the start-finish line, and we will not go yellow again. Green flag is out. Final lap here at Bathurst.
And chances are needed, and well, already it's defensive from Kamet. Gruber wants to have a look into turn number 1. It's not going to happen, and they all get close. There's contact on Kuratov behind in the mid-pack as they now head up the mountain straight for the first time, and already now, side by side they'll go. But look at this, the swarm of Torque Freak, looking at that Constructors' Championship, thinking we can get a few more points here.
And off camber as well, grabbing a few positions. Looked like Krutov was able to get a couple positions there. So the off-camera motorsports drivers taking advantage, actually, of their teammate of Valero. Meanwhile, Daniel Thompson and James King going at it. But then we look up front. Actually, no, King gonna fire it into the inside of Thompson. They're gonna make contact. Thompson goes in the wall.
Thompson in the wall, but he's going to up and under, and he's going to try and get back past King. That's not going to work up there through Griffin's Mount. They hold it together somehow, but they are walking wounded for the final lap of this event, and that's going to be crucial. But Zelensky is stretching his legs and making it work towards Skyline.
Yeah, Skyline right now. Zelensky continues to lead the field. Kamertz losing time. He's running out of time to be able to make this happen. Now down through Skyline, and then into the dipper they go. Zelensky right now a healthy lead as they head towards Forest Elbow.
And there's not much more you can say if you're Kamets, but there's still a chance in the battles for the podium here. Grubo knows that he won't be attacked by Baraclough, and there's going to be a big look there from Kurutov. He'll lose all of his opportunity to make it happen on the run down through the Forest Elbow to the final chance, and Valero's turned around.
Valero's around, and he'll lose more points here, but we look up front to Bobby Zelensky, has dominated the second half of this V8 SuperTruck Championship. Just a couple more corners to go for him. The left-hander, the right-hander, and then the corner at Murray's. And this is Bobby Zelensky's championship, and what a run it's been for the driver of the 83. No one's been able to touch him. Through the final corner he goes. He will win the race, and he will win the championship. Bobby Zelensky, a winner here in Australia.
Oh, beautifully done by Bobby Zelensky. Kamets close, but a bridesmaid and not the bride, and the battles, well, they dry up towards the end of this event. But George Gruber getting a podium from 7th, Baraclough 8th to 4th, and, well, Daniel Thompson just died in the final laps, going from 5th to 8th at the end.
And he still managed to gain positions from where he started, which was 11th, so he is still in the running for the Hard Charger Award. Meanwhile, Bram Renier is just trying to nurse his truck to the start-finish line. A lot of damage on that driver of the 208, and everybody else coming up, and Zelensky already is banked off the power here. He doesn't have to worry about another lap at speed. Championship done, race win done. GG, Bobby Zelensky.
GG indeed, very well played by Bobby Zelensky. And, well, right now, what has to be said on what has been a very action-packed season is that everyone has understood what has been required of them. And, well, when you're up against a man with 9K oval I rating, there's not much you can say except this is what the top of the mountain looks like.
Yeah, it does, and cresting the top of the mountain is Bobby Zelensky. But let's run you through your full race results here from Mount Panorama, Bathurst. Bobby Zelensky gets the win in the championship in the number 83 Toyota Tundra. Sven Kamert's going to come home second in the 66. Close, but not close enough. George Gruber going to finish third. Fourth going to go to David Baraclough. Rounding out your top 5, Justin Kurutov.
Martin Kapal will drop back to 6th position after blocking the road with 3 to go. James King had that big spin on lap 1, brings it back to 7th, though. Daniel Thompson finishes home in 8th after being 5th on the final lap. Borja Valero has a few spins to his name in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Josh Mertz. I'll take the last 2. Bram Renier's 46 seconds off, and Clifton Cockrell 1 lap down after being 3 down at one stage.
And while Bobby Zelensky has a little bit of a road in front of him to get back to the start-finish straight and start doing some donuts. So while he makes his way down to the front stretch and to victory lane, I'm going to step aside here and hear a little bit from our sponsors. You're watching the Socks Out Racing, iAnalyze V8 SuperTruck Championship. We talk to the winner and the champ next.
Fuel usage.
Averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons. Change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons. Changing right side tires.
Race over, season over here for the Socks Out Racing, iAnalyzeRacing.com V8 SuperTruck Championship. And it's all Bobby Zelensky at the end of the show. He tried to do some donuts on the front stretch, was a little too narrow for him, but nonetheless, domination in this second half of the season, and it all came up Bobby Zelensky, Jake Sperry.
It all did, and well, he led from the front. He only had one issue to worry about in towards turn number 2. He cleared it before they got down to that section, and well, Bobby Zalenski drove like a champion. He led races from the front, he dominated, and when he was put back in the races and when he was in trouble, he bounced back from it, and he showed that he could fight his way through a field and score some really good results. It's not been a perfect season for Zalenski, but my goodness, has it been a fantastic season for his driving.
It absolutely has, but before we get to talk to him, we'll talk to a couple guys. Actually, no, let's talk to the champ because he just showed up coming out of victory lane, and the guy who got it done, the finalist in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, but the guy who walks away with the Socks Out Racing, iAnalyze V8 SuperTrucks Championship, Bobby Zalenski. You did it again, man.
Yeah, that was an interesting race, just with the weather, and this is Australian Monaco, so it was really I really couldn't afford a mistake, especially a race-ending mistake, because I could have easily championship because he could easily went to Sven. Like if I just especially that last lap, I made a mistake, blew up, and got passed by everyone, finished 11th. I was done, so I had to make sure just to keep a good pace on it and just kind of make sure not hit any walls. But yeah, it's a fun race.
And we saw the drama unfold on the second to last restart there, and Capal was right there with you running, and that was the closest anyone had been all day. Until that caution came out, what was going to be your game plan? Was it drive defensively? Would you even have given up the lead if it meant, saving your championship, or what were you thinking?
Well, I mean, I knew how to defend if I got, someone try to pass me into one. I just hold on the outside and I'd have the line into 2. I mean, it depended, on the situation, if I would have backed out or not. If we were, going side by side up the hill or down the hill, I would have backed out or just took my time with it in the big picture. But, we had a little fun race, headed up into 2, and I got the advantage, and then, yeah, they stacked up behind me. But, yeah, it was just, championship was the main thing. But, you always, as a race driver, you want to win the race, do the best you can.
And you got it done at Bathurst. You win the championship in the race. Emotions, so much has gone so well for you here in this series, and we've really seen just the amount that you've been able to put on these road courses and carry it into the oval stuff and then back onto the road courses. And this year has just been a landmark one for you, both on the oval and the roadside. Talk a bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. Considering last year, I wasn't even around most of these series at all, and pro and all that. So yeah, it's been an amazing year. Getting a couple peak wins, finishing third in that championship. Then over here, being able to, we had a rough stretch there, second, third, fourth races with some penalties and starting in the back and having to fight. But then, we got back on track and we just, focused on driving and was able to get the pole every single time the rest of the season, and that really helps a ton because it's so hard to, it's road course racing, it's going to be hard to overtake. So but yeah, it's been a great year, and I won a couple championships in the SRA League, so yeah, it's been a great sim racing year for me, and hopefully it's not over yet with Road Pro coming up.
Well, nonetheless, Bobby, as we look towards 2018, we wrap up 2017. Sponsors, shout-outs, everybody who gets it done for the 83.
Virtual Racing School, I'm pretty partnered up with them nowadays, so shout out to them. Shout out to everybody at Socks Out Racing for putting on this series. I've always looked for a series like this as a league with a NASCAR vehicle on just road courses, just because I enjoy them so much. So yeah, shout out to them, and shout out to everybody here at RaceSpot and everybody that showed up this season. Hopefully we have even better season next year.
All right, well, that's Bobby Zalenski, winner and champion here at Bathurst. Bobby, congratulations, and we'll see you around the sim here coming up.
Yeah, thank you, Cisco.
And now that we've talked to the champ, let's talk to the guy who was close but not close enough. Sven Kamertz has caught up with Jake Sperry.
Yeah, he certainly has. We've got a lot of drivers wanting to get their words off after this event. But Sven, close, a bridesmaid, but not quite the bride just yet. Second position was always going to be very good. You knew you needed a victory, but let's talk about that moment that happened to you, causing the second caution. You got a little bit up on 3 wheels into the cutting.
Yeah, with the colder weather it's always a bit more risky, and it was lifting the wheels a bit more, and well, I just got nice up into the inside, but then it rises very quickly, and well, just up on two wheels, a bit too much power, and just came round.
It's the way it happens sometimes. But of course, your championship has been fought very much from consistency and scoring the second places, the third place finishes that have got you into that championship position. And without that level of consistency, would you be finding yourself in this mid-pack battle a little bit more frequently?
Well, every race that I've actually completed without making a mistake of my own have always been good finishes, so I think I'm fairly confident to stay up front. But yeah, for next season it will depend on the competition there as well. So we'll see what comes along for next year.
You always look for what will happen next year. In 2018, maybe a chance to look at the overall pace as well, because you were there, you definitely had a lot going on, but when you're fighting against a man with 9,000 overall I rating, you know it's always going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you can get the A car around Sonoma at a decent pace, a truck around Bathurst, it's not really going to be that much trouble.
No, it never is. But of course, we're going to let you go in just a moment. But shout out sponsors who gets it done for Sven Kametz.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone from Blackadder Motorsport and our sponsors GP Racing, Amergy, and Sherstone Solutions. And I'd also like to give a shout out to you guys for the awesome broadcast every time, and to Steven and Nash from Sucks Out Racing for hosting the series.
No worries at all. Sven Kametz then joining us in the 66 machine, second in the race, second in the championship, and sometimes that's the way it ends up being.
Yep, that's the case, Jake, but I'm going to catch up now with the guy who finished third here in the race, George Gruber, who came through a lot of adversity here to make it up to the top three. And George, +4 from where you started, the 123 machine, stands on the third step of the podium. Talk us through it, man.
Yeah, I think key moments were the restarts, especially the start, where I made up 2 places immediately. And then, I mean, also a little bit of luck, because I just got by that wreck in the end. And yeah, I think that way, you know, with David then behind me in the end, it was pretty clear that we're just gonna, you know, not fight each other too much for the last lap, and yeah, just drive home third and fourth.
And we saw that second to last caution was a case where it seemed like no one was able to get through. The track was almost completely blocked. What was that like from your vantage point?
Close. Yeah, it was. I think it was really just luck and avoiding the cars just in the right moment, and getting lucky that no one bounced back into me and no one crashed into me from behind. Yeah, sadly, that's sometimes how these races go, that you can can only get a high place with luck, but you know, still a third. After the victory in DGFX yesterday, that's a pretty good weekend for us, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And this momentum that you've guys gotten in this weekend, how are you going to be able to take that and use that here coming up for more in the DGFX as well as this series next season?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've got a lot of confidence. We finished in the points in Neo. That's the next race also. So yeah, it's really looking strong for us right now. And if we keep this going, I think yeah, we're gonna turn a lot of heads.
Well, my friend, you finished third here, and looking at possibly being in the top 5 in the points. We're not quite sure yet, but nonetheless, sponsors, shout-outs, who gets it done for you guys?
Yeah, just, you know, the rest of the team. Especially gotta shout out David and Jake and everyone else. You know, we've had so much racing in the last few weeks, and you know, we're really together. We can make this team work, and it's pretty good.
Well, that's George Gruber, finishes third here at the mountain, and George, congrats, and we'll talk to I think one of your teammates here coming up, but nonetheless, fantastic job, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
That's George Gruber, and now I'm going to hand the mic back over to Jake Sperry, who's caught up with the guy who finished 4th in the TFR truck, David Barclow.
Yeah, I found a Mr. David Barclow, and Mr. David Barclow must be the man who arguably can be the luckiest, as he saw the door shutting in on him with 3 laps to go and managed to just squeak through at the final moment.
Oh, you mean the wreck, Jake?
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, okay, yeah. That was quite. Let's just say I'm gonna need a change of underwear after that one. But yeah. So I was very lucky to be on the outside though, because the rear of the truck got really loose on me coming out of turn 1, and it gave James King the run on me on the inside into turn 2, and I was thinking, the outside move never works here, but it's the last lap, so whatever, I'll go for it and see what happens. And then I just couldn't believe my luck when I saw everyone clearing out to the inside, and I think it was 4 places or something. But yeah, that was really lucky.
Well, luck is always a factor in these events. You never know how much luck you can get, but having 3 5s on your machine certainly wants to influence something along those lines. But for you, your season's been all about your racing and making positions, and time after time we see you getting that hard charger award and yet again putting yourself up there as that candidate. For yourself, though, podiums maybe have been a bit more of a premium this season, but you've shown the pace maybe over a course of a race. Do you think that you're maybe looking for your 1-lap pace to sort of kick onto that next level?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fair to say that I haven't really got the hang of these trucks, and it normally takes me about a quarter to a third of the way through the race to actually start driving them properly. So practice doesn't seem to help. I don't know what it is about them, but I haven't really got my head around them. But we'll see. Maybe the break over the winter will do me some good, and I can discover how to drive these things, because I feel like I really want to get up there and start fighting for some wins and podiums more consistently. And yeah, it's going to take a bit of work, but yeah, I might get there eventually.
Talk to Bobby. He'll probably help with that. But of course, we've had your teammate in giving shout-outs and sponsors, and I think it's high time that maybe you have your own portal to showcase that off.
Okay. Yeah, I'd just like to say a big thank you to first of all, my teammate George. He's had a really great season. Actually, he's been spearheading the team to our high standings. I don't know exactly where we finished. We'll need to look that up, but I think we finished pretty high up in the team standings. So yeah, big thank you to George. Also, a big thanks to Jake and Bram, the other members of Talk Freak in the race. We've worked on setups as the 4 of us, and yeah, so there's been a lot of collaboration going on. So yeah, big thanks to them, everyone else on the team, and finally a big thank you to yourself and all the organisers at Sox Out for putting on the race and showing it to the world, because it's a really fun series. So, you know, we don't get to race these things on these kind of tracks anywhere else, and yeah, they do it right here. So cheers, guys.
No issues at all. David Barclow, again, another candidate for Hard Charger in 4th position there. And Cisco, I believe you found someone else waiting down on the road.
I found a couple of someone else's, because we're going to have the opportunity to talk not only with the guy who finished 5th, but the guy who's the teammate to the guy who finished 5th, and that's Daniel Thompson and Justin Krutov, and you guys have secured the team championship here in the V8 SuperTruck Championship. And I'll start with you, Justin. You finished 5th here, and you had a front row seat for that second to last restart where everything went crazy. Quickly touch on that first.
Yeah, I couldn't really believe my luck. I was heartbroken. I had just spun out right before that and lost all my ground. To take this restart in the back and to just get to turn 2 and all hell breaks loose, and me and Josh Mertz were able to just casually come to a stop and let it all play out, back up, get back going. It was, for starting out as a terrible situation, I couldn't believe my, I guess, fortune to be able to miss that.
Yeah, and Daniel, it didn't really work out as well for you, but you were kind of in the midst of that. But talk us through that. What was that like for you, kind of stuck in the middle of all that?
Well, I finally thought I had a good run into 2, and I was able to be on the inside going in, and all of a sudden up towards the front I saw Borges' truck sideways, and I got on the brakes, and he locked it down enough on the inside, and I tried cutting it to the left, and I got hit from behind, hit on the left, and all of a sudden I was on the wall on the right of the track. So I got tore up pretty bad from that, and unfortunately I think that wreck is what sealed my fate of missing out in the points championship. So
But nonetheless, you guys together have secured the team standings, and talk a bit about that, Justin, because this has been an effort you guys have been able to do all season, and Torque Freak's been right there challenging you guys, but you guys have been able to hold them off in just in a fantastic team effort.
Yeah, I mean we've had our struggles this season, but I think we've just been able to stay, disciplined, stay consistent, show up every race, and put in the effort, and it seems to have paid off. So that's really great to see.
Still, you guys get it done, lead the team championship, and a fifth place finish for Justin. But Daniel, I'll give you the chance. Sponsors, shout outs, everybody who helps put the whole team over at OCM together and helps make it happen.
Got to give a shout out to Punta Clara Kitchen. Thanks for letting us put your name on the trucks. And Justin, he helps really put everything together for OCM. And I want to give a shout out to all our fans. Alex, Grace, Griffin, Mary, and James. You are really a huge support for us. And thank you all for being there for us.
That's Daniel and Justin. They secured the team championship for Off-Camera Motorsports, and Justin walks away with a fifth place finish. Guys, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now that we're moving on here, we're going to talk to the guy who makes it all happen here at the Sox Out Racing, and that's Mr. Steve Burbage. And we're pulling him in. And Steve, congratulations on another fantastic season. First thing I got to ask you, reflect a bit on the season. What have been some of the high points?
Well, there's been a lot of them, to say the least. Making the recaps the week after the race has always been a treat, and there's just so many exciting moments from this season. It's hard to narrow them down. I think if we started the season, it was great having iAnalyze Racing kind of come back to work with us again for another year. They worked with us last year with our Neo Trans Am series. Found that we ran the trucks also last year. Found the trucks was the better fit, appealed better to the fans. So we went in this direction this year, and it's definitely paid off well. Seems the fans have been really excited this year. The drivers have really enjoyed it. So very happy with the result. I guess the other big things here is, just seeing the grid size of those first couple races, 30 trucks on the grid was very exciting. Hope next year with, Bobby Zielinski sitting there, he'll be driving. Well, we'll have to figure out how he wants to number it, but he, as the season champion, he gets to run the number 1 next year. So he's the one everybody's got to go chase down for 2018. So it'll be interesting to see kind of who comes out and the challenge for the championship next year, and just a testament to the talent. I mean, we've, I think, crushed just about every course record from last year on the tracks that we revisited for this year. So, hats off to the guys. A lot of these times I never would have envisioned around some of these courses. So just great to see drivers from all different discipline backgrounds. I mean, you got guys from endurance racing, you get guys like Bobby Zielinski out of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze series. You got guys who used to run an open wheel. All coming here with their different backgrounds and competing, door to door, fender to fender, round after round. It's just great to see. I think and then towards the end of the year, it's excuse me, it's been really great to get virtual to reality on board. So working with them, talking with them, seeing what we can do for the drivers who run with us, and working towards some really exciting things in the future. So
absolutely. And you mentioned them a little bit, but iAnalyzeRacing.com, feel free to talk a little bit about them and what they've been able to do for you guys this season.
iAnalyze Racing is a really good software for the drivers to pay attention to what they're doing, not just necessarily in the sim, because when you're driving the truck, it takes all your focus. I mean, there's no ABS, there's no traction control. It's solid rear axles, 625 horsepower. I mean, it's all on you, the driver, to get it around the circuit and perform well. And when you have to hear so much there, it's nice to kind of sit back and reflect on what you did, what your steering inputs are, what your throttle, how the other guy's running. I mean, that's one really neat thing with iAnalyze is it gives you the track layout, and it shows where you're gaining versus where the guy you're comparing to is gaining on you perhaps. So it gives you areas to work on. And you can adjust those areas. So if you want to look at like one sector and tailor it to what you want to focus on, you can. It's fantastic software. I know David Barraclaw mentioned to me earlier this season where they had used it at one of the, I think it was the race at Spa, the iRacing 24-hour at Spa. They used it there and said it helped them out quite a bit. So really good to see the drivers using it, taking advantage of the software. I think it's really benefited them quite well.
Yeah, for sure. And if you can mention them, what are your guys' plans for next season, and what are you looking to see out of the Socks Out Racing camp?
Well, the trucks will be back again for 2018. Driver registration will open in January. So we've been tossing around a couple ideas. We were looking at maybe doing a fixed series next year as a lower tier, but we have decided against it because our big thing is we want to be able to fill the grid, and there's some really quality guys that perhaps don't have the iRating because they spend a lot of their time in league racing, and they're quality drivers, so we want to give them an opportunity to compete here on this stage. So we're working on things to where we have a progressive system in terms of expectations. So the lower you're sitting in our license tier, the higher the expectations are, because you're almost like a provisional, so to speak. And so it's a sliding scale. And with that, we'll also have a safe driver rating system. So, and that'll be used for that scale to make sure that drivers are giving each other the proper etiquette on track, showing good racecraft, just as a second reinforcement tool. We found the penalty system that we currently have in place does a good job in some regards, and then there's other regards where it could definitely use improvement, and we're the safe driver system that we're working on, point system, will help kind of fill in those gaps. So overall, we're looking towards a lot of improvements for next year to not only ensure a better grid, but even better racing, which will hopefully excite the fans more and just make it better for everybody.
Well,
moving forward.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it. But final chance, shout outs everybody who helps you here at Socks Out Racing. It's not just you; plenty of people involved making it happen.
Yeah. So first off, the Nash, definitely want to give him a shout out. Nash has been doing this with me since 2010, so a long time there. Kind of picks up the slack on the back end, and he got the Facebook live stream going today, so big thank you to him and all that he does there. Shout out to Christian Chandler. Yeah, he really helps. He gives us kind of more of a driver's perspective. It really helps having him as a community liaison. Because I know myself, I don't get a chance to really run on the service as much as I'd like to, and neither does Nash. So kind of get someone who's regularly in the driver's seat, getting their feedback on the administrative end is very insightful, and big thank you to him for setting aside some of his time and efforts to help us there. Shout out to Doug Gerard over at iAnalyze Racing. Thanks for being on board for another year. It's been a great season, and I guess the final shout out I got is to Joel Hamilton at VR, excuse me, Virtual Reality TV. Joel's been he's actually one of our newer partners, and really excited to have him on board. But he's really helped us in terms of growth in the last few months. So and we're working with him on some other things. Excuse me, some other things for the future. So to open up some more opportunities for these guys running our series. So a lot of exciting things in the works. Can't really talk too much about all the details, but we're trying to propel these guys forward and really set a new mark for everybody.
And Steve, it's been a fantastic season for us in the booth as well, and we want to say thank you very much for bringing us on board. And we're looking forward to watching this thing in 2018.
Well, thank you guys for all your hard work, month after month. It's always been a great broadcast, and it's really been fun working with you guys. So look forward to it. Cheers.
Cheers. So, well, Jake, then we begin to close up shop and pack up the RaceSpot production truck. But before we do, we still have the case of the Hard Charger Award to give out for this final race. And, well, we got to tell the viewers who we think's getting it. And I'll start with you, Jake. Who's your pick?
I would pick David Barraclough, but I think that for the work that we saw in the early stages of this event and the fact that he still gained positions, I think you have to give it to Daniel Thompson in this situation. He systematically picked up positions time after time. He got it very good in the pit stop window and gained positions as well. And when the cautions came, yes, he was a little unlucky. Yes, he had a lot of damage on that final lap, but he still gained 3 positions through this race, and I don't think that it can be ignored.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm going to have to agree with you there, so us two are picking Daniel Thompson. If you want to pick your Hard Charger Award, the drivers eligible tonight are David Barraclough, Daniel Thompson, and Josh Mertz. You can tweet at Sox Out Racing for your choice for the Hard Charger Award, and that driver will receive a month's free subscription to iAnalyze racing software. But one final time, we'll run you through it. Bobby Zelensky was able to take home the Drivers' Championship off Camber Motorsports, with Kruitoff and Thompson were able to secure the Team Championship, the Road Championship, or I should say the Road versus Oval Championship. Well, I just said it. The Road guys took it away with 1,230 points to Oval's 1,208 points, and Toyota takes the Manufacturers' Championship with 1,290 over 1,264 for Chevrolet. But that'll do it for us here from the mountain. And so for everybody involved here in the broadcast, for Paul Smith, for Chris Murdoch, who joined us for one event, for my broadcast colleague Jake Sperry, my name is Cisco Scaramuza, and for everybody who makes it happen here at Sox Out Racing, we're super happy to say thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you in 2018. Thank you very much, and good night.
Fuel usage.
Averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons. Change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons. Changing right side tires.